Live. Welcome to the damn show, everybody, the Digital Art Market Show. I am RD, Roger Dickerman, and I have a very fun group joining me today, a feature group. We're going to introduce them in just one moment. But let's get a little screen share up because I want to talk about some people that are very special to the show. And first, we are presented with 24 Hours of Art. And hey, that's something that I write every day. But last week was a pretty unique week in that we released some wonderful feature content. And I want to give some of that feature content a shout out. So this was the story of the week, or at least of the early week. We're going to get to another one. It's the art of Raoul and Blondie. Had a chance to spend a couple hours with those two. I personally found this to be one that struck all the feels, had the honor of writing it and landing the plane. And the one thing that I want to point out is at the bottom of this article, you can find, of course, on the 24 Hours of Art X account, is the full conversation. So this is a direct link out to a YouTube channel, and you can actually listen to the entirety of our 2-hour interview. There's so much in there that I did not include in the article. It was like one of those conundrums where I could have written the article about 4 or 5 different ways, decided to do it in the way that I did it. But I promise you, in that live interview, or once live interview, you're going to be able to find a lot of things that may surprise you that were not in the article itself, but I think are very, very valuable. And so a big shout out to the two of them for spending that time. It was a fun one. Now, also last week, a big shout out to Justin Wetch, who writes an article series of his own called Weekly Dose of Art. And this was number 14. Yes, he's done 14 of these installments. And this, I mean, these are behemoths. He puts a lot of love into these. He also goes, in with the artist for 2-hour conversations, comes out the other side, and these are just joys to read. And so a big shout out to my partner in crime, Justin Wetch, on a lot of different 24 Hours of Art fronts. All right, so that's the 24 Hours of Art side. Now we are also presented with SuperRare, and this kind of brings us around to a fun wrinkle in today's show. This is a curation by Jonooo, one of the 4 guests about to join us here. This is Post Portrait. This is debuting on October 1st. We're going to talk all about it. We have ADHD. We have DeltaSauce. We have Rebecca Rose, 3 of the 10 artists in this curation joining us in just a second. And we'd be remiss before we move off of the SuperRare mic, again, presented with SuperRare. Lots of gratitude to them. This is Rio Art Residency, When Pixels Learn to Samba. And we saw a number of these artworks in this release find a home within the past few days. In fact, we did a fun 24 Hours of Art design based on all of these works just yesterday. So big shout out to Selkie and the Rio Art Residency and FDOT and so many of the artists and collectors involved in this release. And finally, the damn show is powered by none other than Gandhi. Gandhi Liquidity Stack for artworks, NFTs, and a whole lot more. What's fascinating me here on Gandhi, I always try to give you one wrinkle. The wrinkle today is the skulls. So I think everyone at this point, if you've joined the show, if you've listened to me talk, maybe read some of the feature content I've done in the past, you probably know a thing or two about Sam Spratt's skulls. 50 very special artworks that also embody the Council of Lucy and occupy the center stage of Sam's world. Well, they've been very active and sort of setting almost the bar outside of CryptoPunks. Of course, I mean, CryptoPunks are CryptoPunks, but skulls are kind of setting the loan bar recently. And we saw this loan for $250,000 taken out by Anonymous. And it's followed up just a lot going on in the skull. Remember, there's only 50 of these. And these are the active loans right now on Gandhi. And this doesn't even tell the whole picture. I'll tell you that in 1 second. There's just 5 active loans of the 50. That's 10% of the skulls, ranging from 110,000 to 250,000. But there's a vault. And there's another $250,000 loan that doesn't show up here. And that's for Foreshadow. It's in a vault loaned with 2 Lost Robbies for $750,000 total. And then there's this one that was another $250,000 loan just paid off yesterday. So I think fascinating stuff. So we're talking about essentially 7 of the 50 skulls, all leveraging Gandhi in some way, shape, or form. Pretty fun stuff. So presented with 24 Hours of Art and SuperRare, powered by Gandhi. Sometimes we get to them a little later in the show. I wanted to give them love right off the jump today. Now, let me get rid of the screen share and let me get our guests up here onto this stage. Remove, and there's Jonooo. Welcome, Jonooo.
GM.
There is ADHD Colin. Welcome, sir. How are you? There is DeltaSauce. How are you, Delta?
Good morning.
And there is Rebecca Rose. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm great. Good morning to everyone.
With the custom background.
Yes, we're on the grid.
You're on the grid. So, fun group, special group. I want to give everyone the mic. We're obviously going to talk about the curation and the artworks, but we all talked backstage a little bit. Is this relaxed? Smoke them if you got them, right, Rebecca?
Right.
And yes, the answer is yes. This is very relaxed. We're going to find the magic in this conversation, and so let's do exactly that. Let's talk about your passions today. Let's talk about how you're waking up this Monday morning, what you're seeing, how your practice feels. And I'm going to go in alphabetical order because that's the only way to do this with this group. ADHD, that puts you squarely at the top. You could have won the alphabetical order race with either ADHD or Colin. Either way, it was going to come to you first. So how are you feeling today?
I'm fucking tired, bro. Like I seriously have not slept in 50 hours, and I'm not even kidding. It's like crazy. This is the longest I've stayed up in probably, I don't know, since college or something. This fucking project's killing me.
Wait. Okay, hold there. So 50 hours. I mean, give us a little more there. What has gone into this 50-hour surge?
I get these ideas, and then I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And then this happens. I mean, basically, I decided to push myself a little outside of my comfort zone on this, and that gets really exciting and consuming, and you just kind of disappear into this tunnel of creative flow state, and then all of a sudden you start having problems and you're like, shit, I got to do all this stuff, and there's a ticking clock now. I'm not just in like Neverland, like having fun. So yeah, basically there was I'll just say it, there was some vibe coding. There was some vibe coding happening, and the vibes have gone a little weird. So yeah, I basically have been in this weird conversation with a non-human for about 2 days straight, just trying to get it to do what I wanted to do, and well, it's not always doing it, but we got there. We're here, and I'm gonna sleep really good tonight.
So intuitively, what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling is that we should keep the microphone on you for as much of the show as possible. Really push you to the limits here.
I mean, if you want it to be like a bloopers reel kind of show, I'm down.
Final question before we get to Delta here. You mentioned Neverland. You mentioned flow state. I find these concepts very fun. I think everyone out there on the show and listening to the show, kind of whatever angle they're coming at this from, can probably relate to experiencing that from time to time. So here's the magic question. How long can you stay in that state before you realize, oh, wow, I've been up for blank amount of hours?
I mean, if I didn't have my wife and like animals, I mean, I'd probably forget to eat and just die. Like I really just I love living in that place. It's like the most, even when it's chaos, even when it's dark, doesn't really matter what it is. It's like this it's like the most potent feeling. For me, it really, I guess, I feel like we're all like sort of like meaning making like beings. And for me, like that's when I feel like life has the most meaning, is just like being in this like endless possibility swirl. You know what I mean?
I love it. So, what we're hearing is big shout to your wife and to your animals.
Yes, I would not be here right now. Probably be either. Yeah. We don't need to go there.
DeltaSauce. Good morning, Sarah. How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. It's been a good Monday morning. Nice outside. Weather's been great. Busy weekend, very busy weekend. With working on a lot of other projects, but like I'm really excited to be here today. Like especially to talk about like the more in-depth part of self portraits, because I think that's a very important aspect. It was a challenge because like I don't usually make art about myself specifically, so like just being able to like put myself out there as, kind of a challenge as an artist, but I enjoy challenges. So
there are diverse backgrounds going on today. We're going to get to more of those. Delta, I like yours is blurred, and that feels like it fits. It feels like it's taking me to pieces of your artworks.
No, that was very intentional. Like I am working off of a lot of my own custom models that I've trained in the background. So like just playing off that sort of motif as well, and just building upon that narrative, I think was very important.
That's what I like to hear. Come prepared today.
Yeah.
Jonooo, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I've been a little nervous coming into today. I'm very proud of this work, and I just, I put a lot of myself in this experience, and it's very intimate, the relationship that I have with mostly all of these artists as part of the group. And so, you want to see it succeed, whatever that measurement is of success. I feel already so proud of it, but there is another step in the equation to find interested folks that may also resonate with these pieces. So yeah, I feel some pressure, but it's good. And I just thank you for having us on. It's a huge pleasure.
Jonooo, I've collided with you in a number of different places at this point. Station 3, many times at SuperRare's offline gallery. A lot of times it's on behalf of other events, other things going on. And we just, we're interested. We're interested parties. We break bread sometimes. We hug it out. We watch the thing. We experience the thing. Now you're on the precipice of your thing. How's that feel?
Yeah. Man, that's a longer conversation. Maybe we can get into, but I do want to give the stage to the artists that are here and give them as much time as possible. But yeah, it's a moment for me to really grow and evolve in this space. I've been a participant for a long time. I would say in some ways passive, in some ways active, but now I have this platform and this opportunity to work with SuperRare and really advocate for the artists in the space. So I don't take that lightly, and I think that also is why I feel a bit jittery today, is because I understand the moment and the responsibility, and I take that very seriously. So, but we're having fun. It's a great time. I'm blessed.
Rebecca, pass this man a cigarette, please.
How many? How many you want?
How are you, Rebecca Rose?
I am equally as tired as ADHD. I've been on a marathon with this piece, and Jonooo, you've been so patient and graceful with like all of the work in progresses that I've sent over like in the past month. And he more than anybody truly knows like how much work and time and effort and like sleepless nights like to get this piece done in the way that I envisioned it. And it was a challenge. Like there were times where I would take like those little 15-minute cat naps just to like refresh my brain. But I've been pounding away on this piece for like 30 days. So yeah, I'm a little loopy, hence the nicotine fix that I need. And thankfully that actually got me through a lot of the production of this piece, as well as my husband and pets like Colin. But mostly the nicotine. No, I'm kidding.
Spouses, pets, and nicotine. We love it. Rebecca also, it feels like it is a very safe space. Only 500 people and counting here with us today. Good. Well, we're going to get to them in a second. We have a whole number of other hellos to give out. Rebecca, I feel like we're destined for much the same. I love that I'm getting many of you in a raw state today. I always kind of feel that way with the damn show. It's fun. It's a lot of vibes, a lot of magic, a lot of art and market talk, of course. But the last time, Rebecca, was December, and you were literally on a segment called The Witching Hour. I think it was you. I think you may have even coined that segment. You and Siobhan Wong together.
Yeah.
And I think we had Chikai, who had stayed from the previous segment with us. We may have even had one or two other individuals who were in from the intro or the outro. It was that kind of a show. You'll forgive me. I was on my own time warp bender at the time. And Mad Dog Jones came on camera and jumped in an ice hole in sub-zero Canadian weather.
I remember that. That was so like bizarre and out of pocket. I loved that show. Yeah.
Well, let's see what we can get up to today. And with that, I want to welcome everybody in here with us. And as I said, oh, I'm gonna get to the crowd just after I introduce all, and then there were more comments and more comments. So let's get to them all. Sketchlight GM, Ishika, hello. PB Paper Buddha says homies. Deconstructing with the GM fam, fresh new week. Yes, it is. Moon Zoe is here with a good morning. Verdandy is here. Good morning, Victoria. Also gives flowers to Justin Wedge, says kills it on those write-ups. I agree. Juicy Julio in here with the GM. Gold Cat, just can't get enough Gold Cat art. Swati with the GM. Delta, hey, that's you. You're commenting on screen. What is the multitasking? Abrahani says, great group. Hilda, love all these people. Jules in the house. Rescue, hello. Awful Eye. Jake Freed with the GM. Chakai himself here, listening to a little retrospective on that past segment. And Coldy. And there we have it. There's our crowd right now. Appreciate you all for joining us on this damn show.
Wow.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy. Let's get into it. So no, Jonooo, I'm gonna make your cheeks go red and your ears go on fire because yes, I'm coming right back to you because I think, I thought about it. It's like, who am I gonna go to next? I think we have to go back to you, man. Or I have to put a little pressure on you because this is your moment. And where does this all come from? So you even deciding, hey, I'm going to step into this driver's seat. I want to curate something. Before you even, we're going to get to all the amazing artists. Before you even get to the amazing artist stage, what gives you that jolt in the first place?
Yeah, I think in some ways I didn't really have, it wasn't so pre-planned. I have now joined SuperRare and it does a ton of work already on our little curation team. There were other initiatives that may have required some additional personnel. And now that I'm on board, we have opportunities to kind of spread some of these initiatives out. And so one of those being, there used to be the daily rares, and we've been kind of playing with these ideas of how to bring more like curatorial effort in a more consistent fashion to SuperRare. And so the idea came up to do like a monthly auction series. And I said, yeah, I'll do it, whatever you need. And and then it was just kind of off to the races from there. And I guess I can continue unless maybe I should stop there, Roger, if you had another question, but I can also just tell you kind of how the story evolves from there.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably where we're going to get to. But so it begins with sort of this more ambient idea of, hey, this feels right, maybe feels like natural segue from Daily Rare to something that's more focused and more editorial in nature. So yeah, the natural question on my mind is, well, then how do you get busy with a level of specificity, either conceptually and or the artists? Where do you go next?
Yeah, I think in some ways I anticipated the moment. I think in the back of my head, I felt some pull to portraiture. It's hard to say I have the pleasure of living in New York where I get to go to a lot of museums and galleries, including offline. But I've just seen, whether it's Rembrandt's portraits or, more recently at the Whitney, there's a really nice portrait of Warhol in a very vulnerable state. There's just these moments of portraiture that I feel very connected to. And I think there is something to be said about, seeing how an artist represents an individual and then my relationship to like the individual on the canvas. And so this was an opportunity for me to say, yeah, that feels like a fun exploration. And then it became, well, how do we make it fun? How do we make it interesting? How do we tailor it to our space, our time, this moment in history? And, that took a little bit of collaboration with some AI, a little bit of research on my side to find out what this could be. And then we end up with post-portrait, which basically is this prompt, this evocation of, it used to be that portraits were these surveys of wealthy individuals, this status, this thing of status. Nowadays, it's become a little bit more meta. It's what is identity? What is the self? How do we portray ourselves? And I think every artist really took that and ran with it in a very fun way. So it was just really gratifying to see everybody. The word challenge came up several times already with these artists, and I think that that's a really good sign. I think I didn't want this to just feel like checking off boxes, giving somebody a prompt, and then I'll see you in a month kind of thing. I wanted this to be more collaborative. I didn't want to step on toes, but I love working with artists, and I love being involved in the creative process, whether it is just a conversation or Colin sharing a video of Mark Fisher, or Rebecca telling me about this piece that she's working on, or Delta talking about his portraiture, and so on and so forth. So it's the whole experience, selfishly, that I get to now go through this process with these artists, and I'm just so proud. And I think the work is really, really strong. Everyone did an incredible job, and yeah, I can't wait for everybody else to see it.
And we get to show the work today, which
exclusive.
When we were creating the show, I didn't know that was 100% happening today, and it is happening today, and that's very exciting. So we're gonna hold that as a little teaser. We're actually gonna get to see the work, which is incredibly special. Jonooo, one more question before we spread this mic around. Who was the first artist that said yes?
I can't recall, but I have to give a special shout out to ADHD. And Roger, this already. Colin, I was thinking about this last night because Colin is like my mentor in a lot of ways, and he doesn't even realize that. Like, he was the artist that I first felt, that I first connected to when I got into the space. And over the years, we've built a relationship. We've gotten a chance to hang in person a bunch. And then for this series, he would be the one to say, like, hey, you might want to consider communicating this way with these artists, or you may want to consider these types of approaches to the group, or reaching out to individuals about XYZ. And, he was very just aware and sort of like selfless, and saying, I know how you feel in this process, and I want, just because you may be a little bit more green with putting these types of shows together, here's what I think makes the most sense. And he was really helpful and constructive in that way. And so I have to give Colin a huge shout out for that. So he may not have been, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the first, honestly. And I just have to say, this was a chance in terms of curating the artist. It felt very natural for me. These are people that I love dearly, people that I have a deep relationship with. And so it all just kind of flowed from there. But yeah, special shout out to ADHD.
All right, ADHD.
Bro.
How does it feel hearing that?
Jeez. I'm going to stay up another 50 hours now. He says all that, and then like I'm like fucking texting him like all manic at like 3 in the morning now, like we're jumping on calls at like midnight and stuff. And I love the guy, and it's really, we were talking the other day just about how it's very we're lucky, I think, in this group, and definitely I think probably like could extend it to the whole show, probably all the artists. I feel like a pretty like strong connection to everyone in this show, and I would say that we have a very special experience where I think connecting to people that are just like really art first, and like really I think like deeply inspired by other artists who are their peers, I think it's just a really unique, special thing. And just the way that I think that like just no one is there's just a real like lack of ego, and like it's just like a real joy to connect to people like the people in on the show, but definitely in this this space. And he's just like, I love talking to him. Like to me, he's one of those people I could just like, we'll text for like hours, like on just like I think I get to, I think probably a lot of artists could relate to this, where when you have certain people that you trust, and you have like just this foundation of they have good intentions, they have good taste, and they're just there to be like a springboard for you. Like that is it's so invaluable. It's just like you can just talk freely, and then before you know it, you know, like an hour later, you have an insight that you wouldn't have had if you didn't take that opportunity to just talk. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel really lucky to be thought of to be a part of stuff like this. I mean, honestly, it's always a shock to me, and always like this really like, fuck, okay. It really is always a thing that just kind of blows me away. And I think it's not that I like stress about it in a way that like, oh, I have to prove something. It's more like it just feels like such a unique moment that I always want to just like really put everything I have into it, because I know that like it's like a contagion, you know, like we all like do this to each other, and the more like you just get this like sense that someone's like just going all in on what they're doing, you're like, ah, fuck, I got to do that too. And I love that. I love that so much. So yeah, it's awesome. I love you, dude. So thanks for having me.
Here's a fun question for all of you. So I'll just stick with you, Colin, for a second. Then we'll go to Delta and Rebecca. How do you evaluate? What's your criteria for evaluating? Hey, someone comes, knocks on your door, and says, "Can you be a part of blank? Can you contribute work to blank? Can you create something for blank?" How do you think about those types of opportunities? Whether to say yes, maybe later, or no? And then I think you've already given us some insight into Jonooo, but Delta and Rebecca, when we get to you, I'll ask you a second question, which is sort of how you evaluated this opportunity that we're here talking about. But Colin, back to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's evolved a lot like over the years, and it's definitely in the most like natural place that it's ever been for me. Whereas like if something doesn't feel right, and it's usually not about people, it's more about like maybe it's a theme, or maybe it's like the timing, something else is going on, and I know I'm going to be stressed out and not going to be able, like it's just going to be a thing on my to-do list. I really try to avoid stuff like that these days. Like you know, I think it's, for me, it's like kind of not worth doing, you know. It's like and that's not you know, that's not to say anything negative about those kinds of things. It's just like I think I've learned that I kind of do myself a disservice by doing that. I do the art a disservice, and then, you know, by proxy, I do everyone a disservice, because I'm not putting out my best work, or kind of like really leaning into you know, the adventure, the journey of art. And I think so for me, like the way that I evaluate it, like it's pretty simple. Like if I think it's an opportunity to expand you know, what I'm interested in doing, like in a way that feels like contextually like on point, like that's what like group exhibitions to me are all about. They're like this opportunity to really stretch, because it's not part of a collection. It's not, you know, it's something else. I mean, it might be, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to make this part of my series. Oh, that's convenient. It, you know, works. That's happened before for me. But when it's not, and it's sort of like this outlier thing, for me, it's like, I just look at it as like, all right, like I'm gonna get real weird with it, you know, like, and that's exciting, because like you really feel like someone's giving you license to step outside of what you do normally and be a part of this other whole thing that otherwise you wouldn't have decided to do, right? So, like for me, that's really usually, and then obviously, like, if I hope that the people aren't assholes, so that's, you know, that's always a plus.
Sounds like a plus. It's a
Yeah.
plus. DeltaSauce, how do you evaluate an opportunity?
So for me, I always look at it from the perspective of like, are they going to bring 110%? Because I always bring 110% no matter what. So I want to be partnered with someone that will also do that, but I also want to be partnered with someone that will challenge me. Like I love when someone like comes in and, you know, critiques my artwork and just tears it apart. Like I want people to do that more often, because like, you know, otherwise I'll be like, yeah, this is good. Like I want people to critique it, break it down, so I could make better artwork and become a better artist. So like I look at those kind of opportunities when, you know, when someone approached me, I'm like, will you critique my artwork? Will you rip it apart? Will you tear it to shreds? Because like at the end of the day, just posting it on the timeline, and people are just gonna say, "Wow, this is awesome! Like this is amazing, DeltaSauce. I want someone to challenge me." So I love that aspect of it, and also it's just like finding that right partner has always been the thing that I strive for, because like I don't want to be in that sort of like in that environment where it's just like I don't want to be there. Like and that's this is why I love what Jonooo came to me and asked me, because I was just like, yeah. And then we met up in New York, and we hung out and we chatted, and I showed him some of the test artwork, and he was like, you could do better, and I agreed. So like I love that about that sort of back and forth with these sort of opportunities, because it's just like it's something different and something fresh, and I always take a lot away from it.
I love what you touched on there, the differentiation, sort of what you get from sharing an artwork on social media, which is a lot of typically, hey, we all have our friend circles on social media. So it is naturally biased, where a lot of people are going to want to tell you, great job, as a first line. It makes sense. They're your friends. Then you're going to get maybe a couple trolls out there, but they're not necessarily coming with anything useful. They're sort of coming with, well, I'm a troll on social media, right? I love that you're actively seeking out these types of situations. Say, hey, let's go a layer deeper. Let's pull this apart. And I enjoy that differentiation of sort of why you do X, but then also seeking out the other side of it as well. And Jonooo, good on you, man.
Yeah, I was gonna wait until the end, but since you brought it up, I think there's also a pressure for me to make sure that the group feels connected in some way, whether that's just with like coming with the right intention, coming with that 110%, like DeltaSauce mentioned. There is some element of curating the personalities and the artists, and making sure that everybody feels like, oh, I can look to my left and right and feel like I really belong in this group in a way. So that was another element for me that I found pretty interesting. And I think thankfully, because I want everybody to be proud of their work, but I also want them to be proud of their work amongst the group and the show itself,
That's it. I want to go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was gonna say you did a great job curating, because like it's just a wide variety of different artworks, and it doesn't lean heavily on one medium versus another. It's very well curated, and I just want to give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
So I want to give Rebecca the mic. I want to get back to that topic. Hold that thought, Jonooo. I think it's a very interesting thing you just said. Rebecca, evaluating why, when, and how you say yes or no, or maybe in the future.
So for me, it starts with the theme, the curatorial theme, and if it's one that I resonate with. I appreciate like more intelligent and deeper themes, which is why I really resonated with the idea of post-portrait. So kudos to Jonooo for coming up with that. And he had like a whole brief, like a dossier that he put together like early on when he was asking artists to be a part of the curation. And that level of effort that I saw from the get-go by him was like, that stands out as like somebody that I want to work with. And like paired with a very insightful, thoughtful, cohesive curatorial theme, like it was a win-win. There are times where a lot of my work tends to skew dark and tragic. So sometimes there are curatorial themes that I just don't resonate with. But this one I definitely did. And it's a very intimate relationship that you develop with between artist and curator, because they get to see the darkest recesses of your soul when you're stressed out, when your work in progresses are like being shared, and this really intimate conversation between artist and curator that at times can feel very vulnerable, because you're talking about like how, especially with this with this curatorial theme, you're talking about how yourself, your identity is infused in the piece, and that's something that I don't typically depict. I try to keep myself out of literal, in the literal sense. I try to keep myself out of the subject matter as much as possible, so anybody that views the work can place themselves in the story. So this particularly was a good challenge, and one that I felt I needed to strive to meet. And also, like, when experiments go bad, and curators, like, kind of walk you through it, and they offer encouragement, and there's, yeah, it really depends on the person and the theme for me. And then, of course, past that, more technical things like what are the file size limitations, or things like that, because my work is pretty tech heavy with that, and big files. So yeah, I would say those three things.
I enjoy that we're getting a peek behind the scenes of the curatorial relationship, because I think I was having a conversation the other day about digital art in general. And this is someone who doesn't collect a lot of digital art, but is intrigued. And they were saying they just fail to find a connection thus far because they don't understand what goes into the creation of a digital artwork in the same way that they've picked up a paintbrush before, and they know that that's incredibly difficult, right? And so they have a bit more, even if it's rudimentary, a bit more of an understanding of that. And I think it speaks to this educational gulf where we're now seeing some school programs and some classroom endeavors, all the way up from lower schools through colleges through beyond, that I think will likely pay dividends on that front in the future. I say all that to say there's also the same thing sometimes with the digital curation. Well, what goes into digital curation? We've all seen past, I'm absolutely not referring to anyone specifically, but we've all seen these. Everyone has their own examples of some that just were a product of saying, like, hey, want to toss an artwork in here? And then it becomes a bunch of solid artists tossing an artwork into a curation, and then that becomes the thing that's presented. Nothing wrong with that. No harm, no foul. But what I'm getting the sense of here is that there's a lot more that's been considered there. And I think that's also important, where maybe someone on the other side might not anticipate that or might not understand that. And Jonooo, going back to something you said before, I find it fun and interesting that you considered the human dynamics among the artists. I didn't necessarily expect that, because I think there's leading with a concept, prioritizing a concept, and going through what artists do I think would fit this concept? What artists do I think are incredibly strong artists in their own right to begin with? But to go to the level of looking at the artists and how they might relate to one another, can you open that up a bit more? I'd like to poke at that with a number of you here.
Yeah, I can't say that I was considering stylistically how everybody would fit together. It is a pretty diverse group in terms of style and practice. I guess what I really was thinking about was, man, is Colin gonna look at the group and feel like, oh, this is a quality. These are people that are on my level, and not to say that that's how Colin felt, but I'm just saying I wanted everybody to look around and felt like everybody brought their best work, and I'm really proud to be a part of this group because it's not imbalanced in any way in terms of like quality, I guess I would say. But thankfully, there's a lot of these folks in this group that know each other, that are friends with each other. I, have deep relationships with, like I said, most of them that goes back years at this point. So it felt like a family affair. There are some new folks sprinkled in. That's always fun. But our chat is pretty lively, mainly because of Love Being, but that's a different story. But no, it's a great group. And ultimately, I guess I'm realizing in the moment, if these artists, maybe some of which had never met before, can go on and build relationships of their own, that's amazing. Like that's the other benefit of this space, is that we get to meet such great people from all over the world. And I think on the whole, there's such great art in this space. Despite what the market says, like I've never been immersed in such a diverse quality group of artists in my life. And I think that's a real gift that we have being a part of this space. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I just wanted everybody to feel very proud of their involvement because of who is to their left and right. You know what I mean?
Rebecca, how do you think about the artists to your left and your right? Not necessarily Colin and Delta specifically, but within a broader curation, how do you consider that? Do you consider that would be the first question, and then if yes, sort of how?
I do consider it, yeah. And like just generally left to the right within the artists in this curation, like Jonooo said, like I felt comfortable that everyone was on the same level, and that makes me like, oh, I'm gonna get kind of personal. It brings out like almost a competitive quality within myself that is like, okay, Rebecca, you got to bring your A game. Not even A game. You're like A plus plus game. You have to bring your like your 5.0 GPA average game to the piece that you're bringing because you're surrounded by these artists and you know that they're going to do the same, and that is invigorating, and we need more of that. we need like more of that. Almost like all ships, like all rising tide raises all ships. But if you see yourself within a curated group of artists, and you know their abilities and their high levels of technique and their talent, like you don't want to f that up. You want to bring it. So I like that. I like that a lot, and I respect everybody that's in this curation. Johnny did a fantastic job pulling us all together.
Cheers to competitiveness and constructive criticism and all of these things making us better. And that's what I'm hearing resoundingly throughout this group. And that makes me happy. I feel like sometimes any semblance of criticism or competitiveness gets sort of put down, or it's not the time or place for that. I think there very much are times and places for that, and it can make us better. So cheers to you, Rebecca. Delta, how do you feel about that?
Can I also just quickly add on that note? I'm sorry to interrupt. I think something I've learned also in my early experiences as a curator now is you do like I'm very aware of how critical I should be towards somebody's art because it is subjective, right? And I never ever want to dampen somebody's light in what they're working towards in their art practice. So there is also a nuance and a sensitivity that you have to approach artists with in order to give criticism. And some artists, I think maybe they're more open to the blunt criticism, but some artists, can be a little more sensitive, and you have to approach these conversations in a different way. And so I think there's a lot of nuance that doesn't get discussed in terms of like the relationship between myself and the artist. And that's a moving target, I think, but something important to emphasize.
Yeah, I remember some of our conversations. We were talking about camera speed and movements, like towards the last fifth of the animation, and you brought such great insight, which I applied because I hadn't thought of it in that way. And you're right, it needed it, and it became a stronger piece because of it, because of what you said.
Here, DeltaSauce.
No, I wanted to add to what Rebecca said. When you're partnered with all these other artists, like in a curatorial sense, you have to bring your A game, but you also have to challenge yourself. Like as artists, it's easy to bring our A game to a certain extent, but like to challenge ourselves and bring our A game, it just ups the ante. And also not knowing what people are going to bring at the we didn't know. Like I didn't know what Rebecca's piece was going to be. Like I didn't know until like a couple days ago. So, and same with Colin. So like it's just like I don't know what all these other artists are bringing. So it's kind of nerve-wracking to a certain degree. It's just like, okay, how do I challenge myself? But also how do I, make it still be my artwork at the end of the day, and also elevate myself to all these other artists that I'm surrounded with. And I thrive on challenges as an artist. So like I love doing these, and I love getting to see at the end like what everyone did and like how amazing it was. So I think everyone brought their A game, and it was all amazing artwork at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Colin, how about you? Being surrounded by your peers, challenged by your peers?
I mean, it's the best, right? I think at risk of being the fucking hippie dork in the group, like I would say like I definitely come to this with like a you know, a very like open-hearted, really open-minded perspective. And I think a lot of it is probably like a transference from like music days. You know, I think like touring is a really interesting experience, and when you're out there with other groups of musicians traveling around, you start to like your sense of artistry starts to like warp in a really interesting way, and it becomes like multidimensional in a way that it's really hard to explain without minimizing it to like, you know, oh, they're good people, their music's okay, but you know, like I think it's like way deeper than that. It's more like there is something, you know, I don't want to start a huge conversation about like, you know, separating people from their art and blah 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 and all that stuff, but I do find a lot of like correlation into like kind people, or just people who like are open to others. That energy for me, like I honestly could care less what a person is making, if they are helping me learn something about just like humanity, like life, the experience of like what it is for them to make art, what it is for them to just be like, you know, existing right now. Because that informs my art. Like me getting you know, you don't get a lot of opportunities to be like in close quarters with people, whether it's like metaphorically or like actually like literally. And I think every experience like that is like really like a gift. It's really fucking special. So for me, like I go into all these experiences like really like vulnerable and like ready to overshare, like ready to like have that like shame over because I like fucking dropped like, you know, a novel and like it's a ghost town in there. But like also like knowing like, oh yeah, like everyone's in different time zones, and like also like I, you know, like I feel like they get it, and then you get a message later, the response comes, like you just learn to like trust that you know, that trust that you have an imposter inside of, like an imposter syndrome inside of you, that is always trying to make you feel like you're not as good as other people, or I don't know. I feel like that informs a lot of dynamics, I think, you know, like imposter syndrome in general. And once you can kind of acknowledge that, yeah, you're a human being, and that like I don't care like how confident you are. Like I've been around some of the most like cocky, like confident people. Trust me, eventually they break down. Eventually they have that moment where they're really unsure of what they're doing, and they just need like another human being to like be there and like you know, basically just like share space with them. Um, and so like that's the stuff that I really look forward to. Like the thing is that makes it when like you have your fucking head taken off by someone else's piece and you're just like, holy shit, I was not prepared for that. That really is like, okay, that's the bonus that you weren't expecting, or that you weren't like, yeah, like that wasn't like, for me, that's not, I don't need that every time, especially if I make a friend during it, you know what I mean? Because I'll be real, like I'm like unprofessional, guys. Like I'm here. I want friends. I want friends. I want like fun. I want like weird stories. Like I want all that shit, because like I just don't fucking care about professionalism. I don't care about any of that. Like all that stuff is like, I don't know. It's why I feel so fucking lucky to be an artist, because I just don't have to think about any of that shit. I can just be in my weird little world, and then I get to connect with other weird people that are in their weird worlds, and we get to fucking connect our weird worlds together, you know? So like yeah, man, I just like I love that. And like I think so many people, like so many people in the space, but definitely like everyone in this group pretty much gives off that signal in a way. And it's just like, that's the best, dude. It's the best.
love being in here with a very timely comment. ADHD, epic heart being, and then follows with a heart. I feel like
Oh,
very,
man.
very, very timely. And then Goldcat says, Colin not being professional is a lie. It's funny, Goldcat. I was gonna say, I was gonna say, I think there's multiple brands of professionalism and sort of
Yeah.
what that means, right? There's sort of like the rigidity of like the uber professional, but yeah, Colin, you strike me as someone who is very professional while being wide open and ready for twists and turns and unexpected things to happen.
Well, I'll just say like I'm a fucking mess, but I do try I try to respect other people's time and energy. So like in that sense, like I'm professional and like you know, I try to do like, you know, I try to take it seriously in that like I feel like a responsibility to like hold down whatever space I'm given, you know, if it's like, wow, this is not like a fucking 500 person show, you know what I mean? It's like a very intimate small group of people, and like to be a part of that is like, man, you feel like you got picked like to be on an all-star team. It's like really fucking cool. So yeah, I don't know. I get it. Like I you know, I do some things that are professional, I guess, but overall, I'm just here to have fun.
Let's go. Well, listen, I feel like speaking of having fun, we have some artworks to reveal.
Oh shit.
Right. And that's fun. Now that's
yeah.
Speaking of these professional honors, you know, that is something that I do not take lightly on this show. The ability to share an artwork that, yes, of course, people will ultimately and eventually see, but to see it for the first time, even myself, once Jonooo, you had mentioned that this was a possibility and what was going to happen in the show, I deliberately tried to not spend time on that page in advance of the show.
Great.
That's how much I love those moments. So I'm trying to step right into that with everybody here that's listening to the damn show. Speaking of that, final cliffhanger, I promise. Then we're going to get to the artworks. But people keep coming. Bananakin, an artist that I just absolutely adore, in the house with the GM. Gavin Mealer. Gavin, we were just talking about you and the Justin Wetch interview. Gavin Mealer in the house. RD to the Moon, great group in the show. RD to the Moon, congrats on your career move, my friend.
Brother.
Parrot with Let's go. Parrot with the GM friends. Brian Brinkman, we were talking about you in the Rio Art Residency earlier as well. Says such a great curation of artists. Bravo. Jonooo. Parrot says, love this convo. Let's go. Okay. And then I'm trying to do a better job at this, but the comments, what I realized a little too late in the StreamYard damn show game, they sometimes get split off. There's a whole nother batch of comments over on X. Some of the same folks, but we also have F. in the house and says so many friends. We have the wonderful folks at Schiller here with us. We have Macbeth and then SuperRare Josh. Perfect timing for that one as well. And then AKC in with a hello. Congrats on your new collection with Suburbs Gallery, AKC. Okay. I promise, no more cliffhangers. Let's get to the artworks. I'll be remiss. I think we should start with those folks not with us today. Is everyone on the same page with that? Perfect. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this right. Let's do this one at a time. Jonooo, where should we go first?
Okay, take it from the top. You want to start with Ego Dead?
Let's do it. All right.
Does it show the same for you in the order?
I'm pulling up one at a time. We're not even going to show the whole page yet. Let's go in one at a time. Ego Dead is first up, adding to stage now, and there it is.
All right. Yeah, I think Nishant might be dealing with some life stuff. Nothing crazy, but he's moving today, so I think he might be busy at the moment. But you know, he's a friend of mine, somebody who lives in New York as well. We become pretty close, and you know, he's another one. I would say I'll try not to be too long-winded, but I really do have stories with all of these artists. You know, so I could go on for a while, but you know, Nishant's work is taking on an evolution, and I feel very proud of this piece in particular because I do feel like it is a step in a particular direction for him. This is my taste, right? So this is not to say that it's right or wrong or good or bad. It's just what I wanted to see more of from him. You know, he's got such a rich connection and background with his spirituality, with his family origins, where he was born in India, or maybe he wasn't born in India, but where his family's from in India. You know, and I just, now you get to know a person as a person, and then you go, well, I'm not getting any of this from your work, you know, in the way that maybe I would like to see more of. You know, there was this sort of capitalistic thing, you know, the big brands, the work culture. It's like, okay, we, you know, again, this is my taste, right? We understand that, we all live it, you know, it's pretty real. And I think sometimes art that is so real is like you're telling me what to think already with the pieces. And I like for there to be a little bit more room. And so anyways, I'm really proud of this piece. I'm really excited for Nishant and where he's going in his journey as well. And this piece is called The Fourth Dimension. You know, this border here, and it's unfortunate because I think these artists can definitely speak more to the pieces. Maybe I won't even try to do that, but that's my story with Nishant as a human. I'm very proud of him.
I love, and there's no pressure to anyone else, but I think a great thing to do would be to open the mic up, and just in case anyone happens to want to pop on and say anything. It could be about the artist if you know the artist. It could be about the piece, here taking a look at the piece. But again, no pressure for all of you to say something, but if anyone does want to, please jump on.
Fresh. I like that. Instantly, I was like, oh, damn. Like, because I'm a fan, and, you know, was not expecting that at all. And like, I just love that feeling. I love getting that, you know, that surprise left hook.
I like this piece, and I apologize if I'm reading into it wrong. My interpretation of it is these, like, how quickly time passes, of course, like youth, work life, and then death. And then would the fourth dimension then be like our ethereal soul, like beyond what the different forms that our human self takes throughout life? So yeah, this great piece.
1000% agree. Like, it reminded, there was a time that I ate a bunch of mushrooms, and I was like stuck in my garage, and I was sitting in my studio, and I had been spending so much time like just like isolated, painting, like missing hangouts, missing my family, like missing all this stuff. And I had this vision of myself like sitting in the chair, like at the easel. And I just like an Indiana Jones like fucking scene, like just saw like all this like gray hair, and like I just got all shriveled, and like meanwhile, like it's like the room is spinning and the paint is flying, and like paintings are happening, and like life's happening outside, and I'm just like rotting at the easel. And I feel like that's how you can feel sometimes as an artist, like when you sacrifice you know, just like time with people that are special to you, or, you know, just like doing regular social shit or whatever. It just feels like life is just flying, and you're just like standing still, like at this easel.
Yeah, and Roger, we can get into this at some point if it makes sense, but there were a lot of meta takes on this idea of the self and identity and portraiture that will be apparent as we go through these pieces.
I can't wait. And I have to say, just in real time here, one of my personal favorite things, this is going back, Parrot's in here with us. Parrot, you know this. Since the origin of origin stories in 2020 and 2021, one of my personal favorite things is being in the room with artists talking to artists, and artists talking about art. I think that, you know, I have a lens, and I have a worldview, and I have a view of art, but there is something by osmosis that is extremely special. And Jonooo, I know you feel that way. I can hear that in your voice just talking through the curation. So this is my vibes wheelhouse right here, my friends. And
yeah,
with that,
yeah. I mean, also just a quick note. A lot of my favorite collectors are my favorite artists.
Well said.
We'll leave it at that.
Well said. The Coldies, the Brian Brinkmans. Okay. Reveal number 2 coming to a screen near you. And it is the artwork, 2 followers. Go ahead, John.
2 followers. All right, Cider. You know, this was fun because if you zoom in, and I did want to highlight this, by the way. I don't know if this gets talked about enough, but the zoom feature on SuperRare is incredible. I have this conversation a lot as I go to physical spaces, galleries, museums, scale is very important. And it's something that we don't experience enough of in our space, on our phones, on Twitter, compression, size. SuperRare has an incredible zoom feature, and I implore everybody to check it out with any of your favorite works. All the detail, all the little minutia. I mean, it makes the world of a difference when you're experiencing a piece of art. So that is number one. Number two, you'll find some influence from American Psycho. You can see it on the right, you can see it on the left, you can see it burnt out in some degrees in the middle. So there was this idea of, kind of like being all about me is how I see it. This kind of ego, selfish kind of portrayal of the self, which ironically then to just slap 2 followers on top of it is kind of funny and ironic. And even in the details, the caption is very big on social media. So I love this tongue-in-cheek kind of macho approach to how Cider sees the individual in the 21st century. So yeah, this is like everything you love about Cider, right? The aspect ratio, the depth and the influence and the references. Yeah, absolutely delivered.
All right, the floor is open. The mic is open.
No, I want to say I love the meta commentary. Like I love like it pulls on these sort of strings of nostalgia when it comes to old film. I absolutely love this piece, and again, it's a different take on what a self portrait could be, and I love that.
I love Cider, man. Like, goddamn. Every time, dude, I'm always just like shaking my head, like, he did it again. Like, he's able to combine things that I just think are it's just shit that I wouldn't think of, and stuff that hits in a very like I'm a worshiper of mystery. I think mystery is like, mystery is like a religion, and like Cider might as well he might as well be the fucking Pied Piper of mystery. Like I love, like, his work just always has some fucking layer that I just can't figure out. It's like a puzzle, but it drives me nuts, like, in the best way, and it makes me want to just keep looking at it. And the thing that's awesome about it is that there's this level, there's like this levity in his work that makes you laugh, but you can also feel like this sense of weight, and like just it's definitely serious work, but at the same time, like, there's just never, like, he'll never like miss an opportunity to kind of, like, you can tell like he's fucking having fun and like laughing. So
Yeah, his work is acidic, like not just visually but in concept too. Like the idea of this macho figure with like an inflated sense of self, when in reality, like, nobody like really follows it. Like that acidity within that concept is really pulled off well here.
Such a great word, acidity.
oh yeah, that's so good. I'm gonna steal that one.
And I'd be remiss to not loop Love Being into this, because Love Being adding some commentary from afar. Best accounts have 2 followers with a RCSA PFP and no likes on their comments. Zooming to Cider feels good. Wild joy. Love Being, if you keep bringing them, I'll keep reading them. This is great stuff. And yeah, Jonooo, you mentioned.
Be careful what you wish for, Roger. Be careful what you wish for. We will.
I will wish for it. There's. But I think we've all exposed ourselves to the magic of the conversation. So let's see where it all leads.
Absolutely.
So many of the words and concepts you shared. Acidity is a great word. Colin, the tightrope, right, between levity and weight, particularly apparent with Cider. It just really, I don't know. The more time you spend with the art, the more I feel that tightrope. And then Jonooo, the dimensions. Another classic attribute. Okay,
Yep.
Are we ready for hell yeah?
Oh, baby.
Here it comes to a screen near you. Hell yeah.
I love
I'm
this
gonna
piece
need a
so
light up
much.
for this one. Woo!
I love this piece so much. You know, Machine is one of those artists that I was seeing everywhere, not even just on Twitter, but like on Instagram. Just it felt like her work was like ever present in my feed. And I did eventually collect from her. Man, it feels like ages ago now. Which I think ironically was a bit of a self-portrait. And so when I reached out to her and she graciously said yes, I thought, oh man, this is going to be fun. And, fun fact, this is a physical work. I do think, as it mentions here in the details, there is a physical piece paired with the NFT, which is very, very special. So her work starts in the physical and then, moves into this kind of tokenization. I love the caption. I love the piece. I think it's so radical. It just makes me feel things, like instantly. It makes you laugh. It makes you squint. Makes you cringe maybe. I don't know, but it at least makes you feel something, and you can't say that for much. So I'm super proud of this one. She's awesome. I love her. A lot of airbrush. This is her SuperRare Genesis piece, by the way. So first token on SuperRare, which I'm very proud of. So yeah,
damn, really
coming out with a bang, huh?
Holy shit! No, like it's not even that. It's just that like I can't believe that. That must have been like by choice or something. Like, man, because like holy shit, it's crazy that this is her first piece on SuperRare. Holy fuck!
It's rare that you hear of people having like their Genesis works. Like, that's cool. That she's like in this exhibition and it's just like her Genesis piece. Wow, I almost said that's super rare, obviously. But I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's like this piece kind of leaves you speechless. I feel. I feel like, and I said this to Colin in multiple occasions. Like words would not suffice in this moment for me to even try and encapsulate what I feel looking at a piece of work. So I don't know. For me, I just look at the fucking piece and look. It's called Hell Yeah. Like yes.
And also, hell yeah to the
Amazing.
40-ish people who joined us exactly at the moment when this artwork was up. I feel like it's a great way. Welcome to the damn show. Thank you for being here. Hell yeah.
Hell
and,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
And speaking of hell yeah, love being in with commentary. Fearless work all the time from Machine. She is sensei. Congrats.
Fearless. Great word. Another great word.
As
Fearless.
someone who obstructs I like faces and identities, and I apologize if I'm reading into this incorrectly, but my interpretation of it is that her face is obstructed and placed on her body. Is it because women's bodies are viewed how do I put this? I think you guys know where I'm going with it. Like is the identity taken away from the figure and instead placed on her body because that's what matters in society and that's what's focused on. So that's kind of like how I'm getting from this piece.
Hell yeah.
Very astute observation. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
There's always a lot of like good social commentary, like just like right under the surface of her work, but it's always fun and it's always like really fucking good. And I can't believe I don't have a piece yet. I've wanted to. There's been so many times I've been this fucking close, and got to make it happen at some point. I'm gonna miss out. I'm gonna miss my chance.
Machine makes you think. Ready for Crow?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Come to a screen near you. Yes. There it is.
Another one definitely warrants the zoom feature. There's so much depth, even just with the craftsmanship and with the work itself and how it comes together. Beautiful textures, beautiful colors. I mean, he's one of my OGs. We had a chance to meet feels like just yesterday in New York. And this is like a core memory I have now. It was like me, Colin, Crow, Jake Freed. And we're like walking down the street. It's like 2 a.m. We're looking for somewhere to hang out. And I'm just like, I literally stopped the group and I said, we have to take a selfie right now. Like, I need to capture this moment because this is insane to me because you guys are like my heroes. And so, and then I got to meet Crow's family and his beautiful wife and his beautiful child. And I don't know how much he wants to say about this piece, but there is some familial essence to the piece, which is very special. He's been exploring a lot of painting. I think there was some essence of that in this. Layers. So I'm just, always floored by his work and knowing now the person and the family and all the essence behind it just makes it that much more special.
Yeah, I had dinner at his house maybe like 3 weeks ago, and he showed me some of the paintings that he's been working on, and we're talking like huge canvases. And you're right about the textures that he's able to get with his work in person. Like when you see it in person, it blows you away. Yeah. And good lad too. He's a very, very kind human being.
He's somebody, what's funny about Crow is like you meet him and he's got a bit of a Southern drawl, and then you get into conversation and then you realize, he like spends time in like the fucking Amazon or like, is going to Brazil. And, this dude contains multitudes. And I think, not to get too heady, but we all contain multitudes. You can't really box any of these artists in. That would be doing them a huge disservice. But I think, there's a lot beneath the surface with the individual, as with Crow also. There's just layers and layers. So it ties right into the work as well.
He's straight up like definitely like one of my best friends in the space, but definitely like we talk all the time. I'm very tight with his family. Like they fucking flew up to Philly for my solo show a couple of years back. Like we're planning on taking a trip to go see them. We instantly just like connected hard, and then just have like been there for each other, been support systems, and then but always like especially like art wise, like he's definitely one of those super rare people for me. Fuck, I actually just said it. I said it earnestly. Oh my god, fucking cringe alert, dude.
Plug.
No, but I really mean it. Like he's such a fucking special human being, and I feel like he's one of those people where like when I'm hanging out with him and his family, like I'm just like I like geek out, and I'm just like, guys, like I really fucking love you. Like I feel so lucky to know you. I'm so stoked that we fucking connected. Like he's the best, and also just like a fucking genius. And it's exciting to see him dipping back into some like digital work, some hybrid works, because he does some really amazing shit with Scanner. Like people don't, I think some people might not know like the sorcery. It's crazy. And then every once in a while he'll just like completely shock you with some like that one time he like built a fucking set for that one piece. I don't know if you guys know. He made a fucking piece like that center
for flannel series, right?
Yeah, it like centered the scanner, like as like it was like his like this is his art supply essentially. This is like his like weapon in the war of art, and he like made this basically this homage, but it's just like this digital piece of this scanner like scanning. It's just so good. But he's the best, and this piece is special as fuck.
No, I absolutely love this piece. And like what I feel like when I'm looking at this is like it's the abstraction of oneself, like built upon layers of like history. It feels like. So I absolutely love this piece. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, with the description, an imagining of how a grouping of life-defining memories will appear in my mind in the distant future. Fascinating piece. Let's keep it rolling. I mean, we could spend tons of time on each of these pieces. The clock and the timer. Pretty soon, we're going to be in an ADHD 50-hour flow state here on the damn show. We'll just wake up tomorrow. Sorry, ADHD. You'll get sleep. I promise. Sleep is around the corner. Let's go next to Loop Within Yourself. Are we ready for Lisanne?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Lisanne is another one who I met pretty early on in my days exploring Tezos, where I met Colin and others. She's amazing. She's like the coolest. She's like the coolest person. Her work is beautiful. I love her abstraction. She really pushed herself, I believe, with this one, incorporating AI in this case. And it's interesting because in this piece, there are words generated or meditations around. You'll catch it in a glimpse in this. Am I real, etc. But then you also get this like giant black mass that forms on the piece that kind of feels like a little scary, like AI is kind of maybe erasing the identity, erasing the evidence of the work. I think it's so deep, aesthetically beautiful. I love her pieces and her style. But she really did something new with this, incorporating AI and just kind of like a moving image that tells a really unique story as well. So I'm really proud of this one, and I'm so grateful that she was able to join.
Fucking stellar. I love it. I love the text is great too. We got a chance to read it in the group the other day, and Jonooo definitely picked out a couple like gems from it to like, he quoted and stuff. And yeah, there's something about that swirl, like just something about it is very symbolic of so many things. And yeah, like it is just a really like a super accomplished I think experiment in simplicity that's also like pretty complex, I don't know, I really love it. I love her abstract work, like her just straight up her paintings, but I really love when she like goes out on a limb and does this kind of stuff. These 3D sculptures she's doing now. I bought an edition of one of those recently. Man, she's doing all kinds of awesome shit.
Multitudes. It's truly, everybody's got multitudes, It's amazing.
It's also like a good representation of the varying moods of mental health, and like how you can feel very clear and clean, and then it slowly kind of gets a little gray, and then over time, like there's this big ominous cloud, like an ink blot in your mind that takes over for a while, and then you get back to those good days, and then it just is a cycle. So I see it as almost like a comment on that, on mental health.
No, I want to pull apart from that as well. I feel like it's this reinterpretation of ourselves on a daily basis. Like we're not the same person day to day, and I love that sort of interpretation when it comes to this. And like I'm a big fan of like abstract art, so I absolutely love how they're trying to pull apart like this building up of oneself and then just the washing away of oneself over time. I absolutely love this.
I'd be remiss to not pull Love Being back in. Says, by the way, one, so well said, Rebecca. And also, quote, training AI on her own painterly strokes is a fascinating way of expressing the wellspring of the hand brush connection to the substrate where traditional portraits occur. Super rad. That's our second pun. ADHD and Love Being in. Let's see how many puns we can fire off.
Do you have sound on this by any chance or no?
I can pull it into a different tab and unshare, reshare to get it. Shall we do Luke?
Great call.
Within?
Great call.
Well, it's just the first sentence. I feel like we got to obey.
All right, hang on.
I'm selfishly setting it up for the others of us that have audio.
True. There are a few.
Hold that thought. Okay. Hey, everybody. Here we are again. All right, and we're resharing. Let's see what we can do here.
Sorry to be a pain.
How about a little sound?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
That's fucking
And there we have it.
So ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, is it in reverse? Like, which direction is it moving? It's got like a warp to it. It's got like this, this crazy kind of like woozy effect. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
We are going to 2025 and Gold Cat next. And here it comes. Boom, the reveal.
So I won't put all of Gold Cat's business out there, but we had a conversation about this piece. It was getting to the end. There was kind of like an A, B, and, highest honor for me, Gold Cat said that they were speaking with a huge mentor of theirs, like one of their biggest inspirations about this particular piece, and in help to help sort of select one version or the other. But coming from that conversation, there was a sense of pride and accomplishment where their mentor was saying how great the piece was and how proud they were, and that type of feedback makes me feel really good. Again, challenging artists to stretch themselves, to explore different themes. And, it means a lot for them to have recognition from their peers as well. So I'm just super proud of Gold Cat for this, and the work is astounding. I mean, another one of my OGs, such beautiful portraiture always. When I realized that Gold Cat was available for this, I thought this is going to be good. When you think of portraiture, I think that, there's nobody better than Gold Cat.
With us like living in our phones so much now, it almost is like this captures the moment where the figure almost has an epiphany, like when she looks away from her phone, like she's struck with an epiphany that there's so much more beyond it, like beyond living through her phone, but yet still holding on to it with a tight grasp because we are reliant on it. Great piece.
So maybe I'm giving too much away here, but this other version of the piece was, if I would just kind of describe it, I guess, in a more abstract way, it felt more optimistic. It felt more like revelatory. And this one feels a little bit like there's not a resolve necessarily there's not a light at the end of the tunnel in a way, which I thought was very interesting and thought provoking, that it's not all rainbows and butterflies with the end of whatever the story is.
I in some weird way it kind of almost translates like they're like getting light, like it's like they're getting a tan from the light of their phone almost, like that the hat kind of reads almost like a sun hat to me in a weird way, or maybe it's not even a hat, maybe it's a halo, like who knows. Like that's the thing that's really cool about Gold Cat's work, is that you can always sort of like they leave it in this perfect middle ground where you can just like endlessly search, and then sometimes it's like very direct too, and it'll be super powerful. But like, I love that. Yeah, you can't really. It's hard to get a read on this, but it feels so timely.
I'm getting the halo concept too, almost like the, in Renaissance paintings or illuminated manuscripts, like that very prominent halo behind and on top of figures. And that's what makes me like read into it as like this like angelic moment, this of like what it's like in a split second to disconnect from being online.
Yeah, that's definitely Halo.
No, I absolutely love how like the blues and the lighter tones like frame like the figure. Like it is perfect. Like the way it encapsulates like that halo effect, I think it's beautiful.
These zooms, I mean, just the detail, like I don't ever get to have this type of experience where we can collectively go and dive into a piece like this and really zoom into the details. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Roger.
Seriously.
No doubt. This, like I said, I'm in the zone, everyone. This is my special place. Thank you all for accommodating. Love Being says those blues on the face for highlighting are so gorgeous. Aside from the entirety of the work itself, absolutely immense. Those hands. I have to say a little personal commentary here. I get like a gouged eyes out vibe from this. It's like very, to me, to me, it's a beautiful work, but it's like immensely dark as well. And I think speaks to something very real. And so this work kind of floors me. I think I'm going through a gold cat phase. There's a little BTS of 24 hours of art. I go through phases. I go down rabbit holes. I go through portfolios. I go into Zooms, which I love that we're doing here together. I'm going through a bit of a gold cat phase. It's yeah, gold cat has me shook.
Yeah, man.
All right. With that said, Love Being, are you ready for some meta commentary? Because you're up.
Oh boy, here we go.
All right. Faith without work is no fun. Coming to a screen near you. The reveal.
So this has sound as well,
Yeah,
Roger.
this definitely needs sound.
All right, bear with me. Bear with me. Just kidding. Reveal's coming back.
Talk about somebody that contains multitudes. I mean, and amongst everybody in this group. I mean, he's doing the composition, he's doing the music. There's a physical and a digital element to these pieces. I mean, it's just, dude is a machine.
Oh, sorry.
What up, G? Like your project, my brother? Dimensional, extraterrestrial, monumental mediums. Other men might call it media. Don't believe it.
Take notes. And whether or not the figuration of figure is evident in an empty room, which could be an open field. Communication is still present, long before we were here, during and after.
Plot leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
The man with the same code name as you.
Get off the bus.
You're wild, man! Wild!
Dang, you're stupid. You should leave late, man.
This shit's amazing, dude.
So I'll just give some quick context. Love Being is one of my favorite artists, as with everybody in this group. He's someone I have a deep relationship with. When I first reached out to Love Being, it took some time. There have been eras where he's only accessible by email. He's only accessible by, I don't know, a beeper or like a Morse code or something. But I was so thankful that he reached out when he did and said, yes, absolutely. And then he sent me a video, like a portrait style, selfie style video on his phone about, just responding to the prompt and things. And then he almost dropped the phone on his face. And then he said, like in a joking way, maybe this should be the piece that the phone just keeps falling on my face, selfie style, and hitting me over and over again until I bleed. And I thought, this guy it just oozes out of him, like without any effort, that these moments, these genius moments. And I said, that is absolutely 100% what you should do. And it is exactly not what he did at all, which is also amazing. But, I think just from my own perspective, this felt like a self-portrait, but it felt like what a self-portrait is in the modern era with like streaming and content and content creation and this this moment of intimacy and breaking the privacy of what this person is going through and showing off in their real life. The little bell that goes off, almost like a notification bell, in that kind of like in that halfway point, it really kind of breaks you out of the moment to say, oh, maybe this is like, there's another wall here. There's another layer to this experience that we're viewing. It's very meta. I love it. And I'll be living with this work for a while.
No, I want to say I absolutely love this because it's sort of that, again, it's like that commentary on what it means to like become the content that we surround ourselves with. Like it's just like that face is on everything that we become what we consume, and I absolutely love this one.
I need to have a beer with this guy. This is a crazy wild ride. Oh, I love the chaos of it, but it's still so controlled. And the audio,
And by the way, sorry, in a stroke of genius, he took a screenshot of a conversation him and I were having and put me in the piece and flipped the whole script on me, which is like insane. So now I'm involved in the process, and I'm looking at myself through this lens. It's yeah, I mean, it's insane. It's a genius.
I did not, he said.
Yeah, I would encourage anyone watching the show, dive into the comments too. Just some really amazing context being provided, fun conversation. It's just anything from context into why the intro is there, from a song from Filter, exchange between, who's it, Macbeth, who said, someone said about the cat. Yes, Macbeth said that cat though, and then Love being clarified and said the cat is named Mystery and is Siberian Kashka. And also that the website has active info for the 17 works and a 5-minute video for another time. So there's a lot more to explore here, is the TLDR.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we've arrived, everyone. There are 3 more works to reveal, and they are yours. And so let's see which one comes up first. All right. Okay, so first up is New Growth, and that is DeltaSauce.
Let's go.
All right, sorry for the sound on, sound off toggle, and there it is.
Jonooo, I don't know if you want to go first or should I go first? Like,
yeah, I'll just quickly say I'm really proud of you, man. I feel like you were really vulnerable and you created from a very kind of real space, and you shared some hints with me, but we didn't go super deep, if I remember correctly. But there's a lot of depth to this piece. I get a lot of emotion, there's like this pensive, thoughtful kind of mood, which I love. It was already brought up that there's some blur. It maybe feels a bit like a memory or a recollection, or there's some nostalgic kind of vibe to it. I felt like you really dug deep for this, and I'm really grateful for that. And so thank you for just spending the time and taking things to heart. I really appreciate that.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity. And like, this piece was a piece that I created to allow myself to self-reflect. Like, I want to be able to look back on these last 4 years of like what I've built out, what I've created with my artwork. Like, I've cultivated a garden of memories, and then this is me giving myself that time to sit and reflect in that garden and experience it. Because I often feel that we as individuals, we get lost in our work to a certain degree, and we never find time to like self-reflect on, see what we've built over the past multiple years.
Hell yeah. I dropped it in the group chat, but I said that I love the juxtaposition of sunflowers in the moon, and said like more like moonflowers. Am I right? But no, I mean it's really gorgeous, like very very like strong feeling, like flowing through this. There's a lot of depth for sure.
I'm seeing like the figure, if you zoom in really well, like he start to like transform and shift, and like his face is blurred out, but like there's also like remnants of him like kind of coming off of his head, almost like his old self is being shed. And the flowers, the copious flowers, are telling me that those are all of the opportunities that are ripe for his picking, like as he enters this new chapter.
No, and I really wanted this to be a sort of new chapter, because like I have really stuck to specific color tones for a lot of my work, for a lot of like the bulk body of my work. This is just adding more colors to my spectrum of things, and I want to play a little bit more in the future with this color palette because I love the balance of blues, which blues are typically the color I go with most of the time, and now I'm adding greens and yellows and reds to that sort of like garden of things.
And descriptive text data feeds the garden. Find that interesting. And Love Being In says that type of early 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. hours, so beautifully expressed, the hours of meditation when most human and animal resonance states are in dream frequency. So this encapsulates this reflective lucid dreaming that does not depend on the 25th hours of the day. Well said.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Rebecca Rose.
Oh my gosh, I have to go outside and get a cigarette for this.
It's your moment.
Strap in. Strap in.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Synthesize another strain. And here it is.
Oh, you need volume.
Oh, there's
for this one.
oh no. Oh no. All right,
Sorry.
bear with me. Bear with me.
Sorry, you're gonna need it for me too.
Yep.
All right. New tab. New tab.
What?
Rebecca Rose, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, dude. Wow.
So, yeah, you got to live with these works. Rebecca's especially, but all of them. I encourage everybody to really spend time with them. I love that we've been using the Zoom feature. I think you get a lot of detail on these works. Rebecca is, I mean, this is insane. Like all the music, all the composition, all the, the thought put into this game of life. It's a true roller coaster ride. And yeah, I'm just so proud to have this as part of the group. I think we have a relationship. We've hung out over the years. Rebecca was always very kind and encouraging to me about really kind of stepping into this role, I think, in some ways. So I credit her a lot with just really giving me the extra push to keep going. So that means a lot. And like always good energy, always great vibes, incredible work, Floridians. We have a lot in common there. And so this is special.
Rebecca, this is such a cool piece. This is so I mean, same but different. I don't know. I just get such an interesting vibe. Such a cool addition to this curation. You're making me think.
Man, reading this, realizing we have some synergy in our pieces for sure. This is awesome.
My big question is like, how many times did you ride the Tron ride? It was and the Tron movie coming out, like the timing is like perfect. I am excited for.
Oh, you're muted, Rebecca.
Yeah, you're muted, by the way, Rebecca.
Classic.
Oh my gosh, sorry about that. Thanks everyone. Yeah, yes, I have been a huge Tron fan since I first saw it in 1986. So we're talking about like the OG 82 Tron. And like in high school, I was wearing the t-shirts like a big dork, and saw like they had an anniversary screening at the El Capitan in like the early 2000s, and yeah, huge influence on my life, but also like how I view like digital art. Because in Tron 82, Flynn, one of the main characters, gets digitized and then placed on the grid, and he's essentially stepping into his own artwork that he's made because with the game. So it's almost like that concept is a direct influence on like my entire body of work, where I want the viewer to step into the story. But this piece specifically, I mentioned earlier, like I keep myself, my own identity out of my work as much as possible, so that other viewers can place their own identity in any character, which is why the faces are removed. But when Johnny came up with this prompt, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is a self-portrait, because it's me fighting with the AI version of me who's stronger and better and perfect, and I chase that, and I'm trying to chase that, and it's difficult because they keep, like, the AI version of me keeps getting like, will be boundlessly better, but there's always an opportunity for me as the human Rebecca to actually be just as good. And that's why at the end here, like, we are one and the same. That's why the two figures, the two main characters, like switch out at the end, and one blurs into the other. So at the very early part, it establishes the scenes. The players get dropped in, they connect, and then this is the first game of 3. So this is all about speed. And of course, like, the AI avatar gets all of the diamonds and then wins. And then round 2 starts, and this is the motorcycle chase and the agility. And this was new territory for me, because I actually used 2 areas of AI animation that I masked out and then placed in. This is the second one. And yeah, the AI avatar just wins, keeps winning. And I don't. And I think, like, as time goes on, while we are constantly facing this this challenge between, like, ourselves and our digital selves, like, how do I put this? This piece actually, like, as much as it stretched me, makes me feel very insecure, because I know my own limitations, and I know that hers are limitless. And like, it's a fun, wild ride, and it's fun and like crazy and entertaining, but it's also very vulnerable. And I don't show it in the work, but it's a very somber feeling for me, because it makes me feel like I won't be good enough. But in the end, it's like, okay, yeah, I am good enough. I can still win.
Love you.
There's so many aspects to this curation. There are these personal elements, temporality, and dynamism. And Rebecca, I love that you tackled this pursuit of perfection. I think it hits. It really hits.
Thank you.
We have to have an off-air combo about this theme. As you'll see, I my head was in a very similar place thinking about this kind of thing, and like everything you're saying actually makes me pretty emotional, just like hearing you talk about it, because it is it's kind of an isolating thing to feel and think about, especially when you're surrounded by people like constantly like embracing and sort of I don't know. For me, I'm always just kind of blown away by the ease that some people can do certain things, and for me, it will be really difficult or something like that, you know. But I have to say, I do kind of love like their there's kind of like this like bond that they share. There's sort of this like there is like joy in this, like, you know what I mean? Like, man, when they're like that one scene where they're like jumping down the portal, like, holy fuck, like that really
That was hard to pull off.
I mean, it looks hard as fuck. I was just like,
yeah,
this is so sick. Holy shit.
Yeah, to get the timing and the placement of that right, like to get them to jump back into the above level, like at just the right timing. Like this piece took a lot out of me, which is why I spent like 30 days working on it. But yeah, it was a pretty introspective time, because like I really am just competing with myself here, like in this piece, and like I think all of us do that. So even though it is a self-portrait, like any one of us could put ourselves in the character. And she's black and white at the very first frame, because she hasn't yet gone into that digital world. And then she, all of her colors are then inverted.
I love that.
Love Being has some great commentary as well, and especially the difficulty of this piece. As a motion designer, this is absolutely, all caps, wild to experience. Absolutely immense, the sheer amount of time and work to execute her Z-Space adventures, plus designing all the assets, let alone the storytelling, which I still need to sit with in a rumble seat. Adore. Thank you, Rebecca Rose.
Oh, thank you. And it's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it was
spell as well. Yeah.
It was it has like, I think my last count was about 360 different PNG elements that I had to collage together. I actually like sent you a link to like the 3D build of what that looks like, Roger, and I'll have to post it this week. It's crazy looking, like with all of the elements visible at the same time, it's pure chaos. But I pushed myself with this piece to really like tinker with appearing and disappearing elements, to get as much action without obstruction of PNGs, because the camera has to move in between the PNGs for it to look fluid. And there's just, yeah, a ton of elements in it, and everything's contained in a box basically, and they just fade in, fade out at different times throughout the animation. It took a long while to figure it out, because there were times where I was like, I could just, have AI do the whole thing, but that would, it was, there were times where I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? But I mean, this game essentially, like, it's going to be constant. It's on loop as much as the video is, like, because as AI keeps getting better, like, we're going to have to constantly face it. So, and I admittedly, early on was not very kind to my AI avatar, like in Chat GPT or Midjourney or Venice or what have you. And I've had to grow to be a kinder user to to my program. So it goes back to Tron being like users and programs essentially being the same, the one and the same.
Rebecca, it's wild to consider you painstakingly constructing this scene, and in like the 100th hour, and you're looking at this AI version of yourself that, like, you're exploring this topic of, hey, this is exactly the entity that could help me with this process that I'm meticulously trying to get over the finish line. It strikes me as ironic.
It is ironic. It is ironic because, like, as much as I compete with my AI version, like, the buildings are AI generated, the figures are AI generated. Like, there's so much reliance that I have on AI, and it's like at the end where I fade out and like the avatar fades in, like, it really does need to be like more of a partnership than a competition, now that I think about it. But yeah, that's ironic. You're right.
We've somehow, in some way, I said maybe like 90 minutes. Nope, we needed the full 2. The full 2 hours, much to Colin and Rebecca's chagrin, but we needed the full 2 hours, and we are on the 10th and final reveal, and it is Colin's ADHDs. So let me stop this screen share. We do need audio. I'm going to get this right this time, I promise. So let's stop that. Hello, my friends, again. Let me get this final screen up.
Yeah, so while you're doing that, Roger, I'll mention, sorry, Colin. Just one thing I thought was funny to observe in this process too is everybody's approach to the prompt. And then there were some folks, like it seemingly like Colin and Rebecca and Love Being in particular, kind of meshed in sort of like a frequency. And certain people have certain relations into how they approach the work, even philosophically. So it's cool to see who are sort of alike, and not obviously the work and the output. Everyone's got their style, but in sort of like the thinking and the philosophy behind the piece.
And like we were like the 3 last ones to be
yeah.
And like none of us I didn't know anything about what they were doing at all. And then when I saw, I was like, oh fuck, like so cool, so fucking cool. Yeah, Rebecca and Love Being are my parents. Oh yeah, I'll just warn you, the sound doesn't start until you like click the first piece. So
all right, let's do this.
More than meets the eye.
To see your work. So excited to see your work. Oh my gosh.
There's another pun, but it's not a SuperRare pun, but more than meets the eye.
Becoming myself.
And anytime you want, you can just click. That's the contract I signed. You just click that. If you double click it, it'll work.
Oof.
You can double click it. I think it should work. Or it might get stuck. Or not.
Kill the dark one and the giant, but leaves the third for question.
That's it, baby.
Wow.
Love
Colin, if there was like the moment like where your life flashes before your eyes before you die, and like it replays all of your memories, like that's I hope I get something like this in my in that moment. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like a perfect like encapsulation of like who one is as a human. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, in a lot of ways, I was so that footage of of me. Well, it's not me. So basically, this whole thing was born out of me learning about this like this AI avatar sort of like influencer service. You can like create a one-to-one like AI avatar of yourself. Like you sit down and you talk to the camera for a little bit, and then you have an avatar that's like it looks exactly like you. You know, like that really trippy like footage of me looking in the camera and stuff. That's not me. That's his avatar, and you can script it to do stuff. And I basically just scripted a bunch of pauses because and then I made it say one thing. I made it say I want to tell you that this is I'm 100% really me, and you know, but like I wanted to make this as like sort of like a you know, a symbolic like passing of the baton. Like I'm dying and this thing is taking over, and in a lot of ways that's why it's called becoming myself. You know, it's like kind of this tongue-in-cheek thing. Yeah, I don't know, I just thinking a lot about time, and the AI version of me is going to be here infinitely longer than me. And if you look at things based on how we value things, what we think of as real, you know what I mean? A lot of that is weighted by time and weighted by you know, what you can do with that time. So obviously it's definitely at an advantage. And yeah, there's a lot of other things, a lot of really interesting synchronicities. Like I put books and stuff in there that really inspired sort of like my thinking about this piece. Mike Kelly is like my spirit animal. Like I love he did this exhibition and this book, this essay called The Uncanny, and he just had this like obsession with Freud's concept of the uncanny. And like as soon as I started playing with this idea about like the AI avatar, it immediately made me think of the uncanny, because the whole concept of the uncanny was, well, first of all, like it was like him curating like his collections. So it wasn't like him making paintings, it wasn't him like doing, you know, that kind of stuff. He had this really strong obsession and urge to show curated collections of things, you know, and as an artistic expression. And that was like, you know, I was like in 92 or something that he did that. And so like I was thinking about how, you know, the book and the show is like all about like dolls and like effigies and scarecrows and like things that have a sort of like, oh, they're kind of alive but they're not, creepiness to them. And that's really what the whole theme of it is. And I was just like, man, if Mike was still around, like he absolutely would have included the AI other as, you know, the part of the uncanny. And so I was thinking about that, and then I was just reading, like I had totally forgotten that the idea for the uncanny was born out of his participation in a Jeffrey Deitch show, which was called Posthuman. And that was a total synchronicity, weird, like holy fuck moment for me. And I started going down the rabbit hole and like looking at that show, and like a bunch of the artists in that show, actually, like Mike's probably the only guy, but there's like 3 female artists that like I fucking worship. Like Janine Anthony is one of them. You know, there's a few. But anyway, that show is just incredible. And what was so eerie about it, though, is that the whole show, and everyone should sort of check out this essay, because they're kind of like polarizing. There's like, you got Jeffrey Deitch, who's like super optimistic about the future and like what's coming. And this is, you know, early 90s. This is like 91. And they're talking about like, you know, basically like this is going to be the last generation of like purely human children. And like they're talking about all this stuff, and they're talking about, you know, ushering in this new era and how amazing it is and this freedom we have with our bodies and like blah, blah, blah. Like no one has to just be human anymore. Like they were really going and very, very optimistic about it. And like Mike Kelly was very, very like much more on the like cautious and more, I would say like more cynical and a bit more suspicious. And but anyway, they have a really nice like relationship, I think, to the material in this show. And yeah, so I really feel like there's an eeriness to think about these artists and these people in the early 90s, and you could go all the way back to the 80s. You could go back to like when I was born, you know what I mean? Like people have been talking about and you know, been anxious about and anticipating this moment that we're in right now. And that is what is so weird. Because they were very much so talking about a moment in the future like that they felt like was imminent, but at the same time, I think, you know, they were still living in an age where like they also were fantasizing about this idea that it would never come to. It's like we could just live in this in between, because when it actually comes, there is an uncanniness to it, right? Like it's not just all like cybernetic orgies. Like there's more to that. So anyway, yeah, I wrote a really fun like short stream of consciousness essay there. You don't need to read it now at all, but have fun sometime. And then that last thing, that camera roll thing is also fun to play with. It infinitely generates, so it's just all the same meme. It's all this, you know, Spider-Man's having an identity crisis, but it just glitches out and it just goes on forever, and it'll probably break your browser because that shit is vibe coded, dude. A professional did not make that.
Well, I'm gonna have to jump. I've said a lot about my relationship with Colin already, but I'm really proud to have him in the show. The amount of work, the amount of conversation we've had, the relationship we've built, even just in the process of exploring this work. I was just trying to recall a text, but I thought it was much cooler in my head than it actually is. But I basically will sum up by saying like, his work just kind of left me speechless. And I was, again, trying to like find ways to describe it, but it feels like words are too clunky to even really express the feeling that I get when I view his work. And not just this one, but all the ones that I've connected with over the past. So, you know, I hate to put labels on things. It feels like that's not even really appropriate for Colin, but like this feels like a real seminal piece for him, and a real exploration and an evolution that I'm really proud to host. So I'm just super proud of you, man. And thanks for taking a chance on me, and for all of you guys for being a part of this. It means a lot, truly. It's already a success in my mind. We hope that these pieces can also find other folks that resonate, but I hope you're all feeling like this is a success, just like I am. I'm super proud. So thanks again. And thank you, Roger, for giving us a platform.
Let's go, Jonooo. Appreciate you, man.
Love you guys.
Well done through and through.
Buddy.
Love you. Congrats.
Colin, you reminded me, not that I necessarily needed reminding, but maybe I did at a visceral level, of your music. Your use of music just rocks me to my core.
You ready for this? I fucking prompted my music. I prompted my band, and I prompted my solo record with AI, and basically just kept trying to get it to like make stuff that sounded like us, and it was like really freaky. And I was like, this is like total replacement theory shit. It was like, this is funny. I love it. I mean, it's very weird, but it felt appropriate. But yeah, thanks, man.
I felt it. And, you know, there's a very special 30-minute meditation track created by you that I experienced your first moment on chain, known origin.
Yeah, man.
I can teleport myself back to that moment. And there's definitely, I don't know, it took me right back to there and then slung me forward again into the present nature of your piece here.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was really exciting and very fun. And again, it's just that feeling of like, get weird, nothing to lose. Like just really, I think being in there's a lot of really interesting art happening right now. A lot of really like powerful, exciting stuff. And it's really easy sometimes, like, especially for me, like if I see stuff that like relates to what I'm doing, I have this like very like, it's like a two-pronged effect where like on one hand I feel so much joy and feel like really excited, and then another part of me feels like, you know, extinction fears, where I'm like, oh man, like if what I'm doing gets like hyped up, like not me, but like if someone else that is doing stuff that I feel like looks like what I'm known for, then what the fuck am I gonna be? And then that relates to this AI-ness, this sort of like feeling of like you're always like, oh god, like I, you know, at risk of extinction, you know. So that just pushed me deeper and deeper into this like well, who says you have to like aesthetic is aesthetic, but like I think aesthetic is sort of a temporary choice that you explore out of obsession, not necessarily like a marketing tactic. You know what I mean? So, for me, I've just like, yeah, I'm super blessed to have awesome collectors, awesome friends, awesome peers that have always just encouraged me to take risk, and have always liked seeing me like out there, you know, just doing shit and sweating, being like, I hope this isn't too weird. I hope people get it. Like, and Rebecca, like you're one of those people that just instantly made me feel like, oh, it totally translated. Like you totally got it, you know? And,
it's so peaceful. Like even though visually there's chaos, like there's something so peaceful about it. Like the music, like Roger said, the music, like it's still playing in my head.
that's cool.
Excellent job. Excellent job.
Thank you. Just logistically, I'll just say that this is my first time fucking with like a multi-creation contract. I remembered that Transient had that. So this slider thing was more a logistical way to present all the work without, you know, having to be like, oh, you have to pin this one or do whatever. But essentially, like each slide will be available, like it'll be pinnable for the collector, like it'll be minted. Everything is going to have its own mint, and then you have that one kind of like, that's like the base layer that essentially you could, if you wanted to have it as a scroller. For me, this was sort of my like, you know, kind of a mission that I am obsessed with, like the slider, the Instagram photo slider, like something about that I fucking love, even though I hate Instagram. There's just something about that. There's something about scrolling through and seeing a photo dump, a meme dump of just all these different things that have this like parallax sort of impact on you. And they could be all kind of like, you know, separate things that just kind of overlap. And then they make this really fucked up, weird, you know, thing that wouldn't exist without all the pieces, you know. It's kind of like an album, you know, it needs all of the songs. So yeah, it was just like, I want to kind of recreate that feeling of like just a photo dump or like a meme dump on Instagram, but like it'll be like a life dump of like, yeah, this is your whole life as a human being. These are the things that AI probably wouldn't understand, or at least not yet. There's like, you know, there's so much nuance in some of those things, and why some of those things tug on us, like, oh, you know, and the way a chord hits right as you see something. That's the thing. You could watch it. There's 5 songs on there, right? So, and you can toggle between whatever you want, have a different experience every time you're going through it. And I think that's really, I always thought that was interesting. Like with anything, pairing sound with image, like, dude, the possibilities are endless. But what our brain does when you hear a note and you see an image at the same time, there's like, man, that shit can fuck you up. It's powerful. So I'm cheating a little bit with that. I can like really make you feel something really easy. Just like, oh.
Yeah. Colin wields powers very clearly. So I want to do this. I said 90 minutes, and then it was 2 hours, and now we're pushing into uncharted territory here. I want to pass this mic around for some last words from each of you. I'm going to give, actually, Love Being already wrote the last words to the show. whether or not he realizes this. I think it's a perfect quote to sort of encapsulate what we're all here talking about in very different ways, sometimes the same, but also very different ways. Rebecca Rose, any
my
last
gosh.
words for our show today?
Thank you to Jonooo for including all of us on the curation. Like this was my first time seeing the artworks as well, aside from my own, and just really blown away by what everybody came to the table with. My God, yeah, this was incredible. I'm gonna sit with all the works a little bit longer to really get like a deeper understanding and read the descriptions of everything. But really, really proud to be among this cohort of artists for this curation. And thank you, Roger, for hosting today. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Rebecca. Another witching hour in the books. and one day you'll have to regale us with Die with the Most Likes mentioned an incident at Gaston's Tavern.
And on another show.
We'll save that for the end of the year.
We'll go into all the Disney lore that I have at the parks in another
Perfect.
show.
Perfect. All right, DeltaSauce. Last words for us today.
I want to thank you, Roger, for having us on here today. It's been an absolute blast, like going over all the artwork. You know, I'm gonna have to do what my self portrait, you know, is signifying, and sit with all this artwork as well, and go over it and just dig deeper and you know, pull through the weeds and through the flowers and just like, you know, sit with the artwork and look over it. But like, it's been an honor, Colin, Rebecca. You two are amazing people. Your artwork is absolutely stunning, and you know, I'm excited for, you know, October 1st. I'm really excited for it. So thank you again. It's been an honor. So
right back at you, man. Right back at you.
For real.
Thanks for being here, Delta.
Thank
you, man. ADHD, Colin, some last words for us today.
I mean, what can I say? I just talked so much. Man, no, it was such a blast. Thank you, man. I'm so thrilled to still be connected to you. And I've said it before, but like, you know, you mentioned it, like you were sort of like the welcoming party for me coming into the digital art space. You were like the fucking mayor, just being like, come on in, it's everybody's cool here, like come on, like we like your weird shit. And that vibe has always stuck with me, and I you know, it always makes me feel good to know that you're out there and like still welcoming people in and still educating people and supporting people. And so like we're really lucky to have someone like you and your show and your multiple, you know, avenues of the way that you produce work and really just like bring people together around art. So thank you, man. Keep doing it.
Thank you. And this goes for all of you, but you know that I don't know how many times I've listened to it. I always come back to it. Sometimes it takes me some months or some minutes, but I always come back to it. But that 30-minute track and the associated artwork, it's like if you weren't putting things like that on chain, again, I'm speaking to all of you, if you weren't putting things like that on chain and out into the digital art sphere, as it were, this wouldn't exist, right? That's the order of operation. That's how it has to be on my side. So thank you for that. What strikes me now is just hearing all of you here, some of the other artists here in chat with us, having some amazing comments along the way. What a curation! That we're really getting the level of depth here and the level of care and just all inness that each of you went to really address this concept and put something extremely serious and moving out there. Just sitting with that in totality here. And again, I think many on the other side of the show have witnessed these artworks for the first time. I witnessed these artworks for the first time. Many of you, I know, because Colin, yours just got there. It just arrived right before the show. So some artworks, like literally everybody experiencing for the first time. Just a very fun and different damn show today. And so thank you all for that. So Love Being's got the last quote. Just want to thank, you know, obviously presented with 24 Hours of Art. We'll be back tomorrow, as we are every day, reporting on this space with SuperRare. Got a lot of shine today for this curation, right? Jonooo producing this on SuperRare. Some fun puns today. That was cool. And then powered by Gandhi. Couldn't do it without Gandhi as well. Have stood behind the damn show for a long while now, and so we appreciate the entire team over there. And with that, everybody, thank you for joining us. All the comments today, all the people today. The closing quote goes to Love Being, and it goes like this, quote, "Some people walk into a room and stare at what looks like a living version of themselves, and then one walks out. Few. Why not?" Thanks, everybody.